Live from downtown Detroit, home of WDIV and Click on Detroit, Local 4 News at 6 starts now.
Tonight, the state AG brings the hammer down on 2 men accused of making violent threats to 3 female public officials.
As vaccine efforts ramp up in Highland Park, a sudden closure of a CVS pharmacy has drawn the ire of the city's mayor.
And we continue to follow the breaking news out of California. Tiger Woods currently undergoing surgery after a rollover crash. We've got a view of the scene where it appears that Woods' SUV rolled down a hillside near Los Angeles this morning. We are told the jaws of life had to be used to get him out of the SUV. According to the LA County Sheriff's Department, he was in serious condition when he was rushed to the hospital. His longtime agent says Woods suffered multiple leg injuries and has asked for privacy. We have not heard very much since his arrival at the hospital. We'll continue to update the story just as soon as it's possible.
Yeah. Also breaking on Detroit's west side, where Michigan State Police are responding to reports of a shooting on the freeway. Right now, Michigan State Police directing traffic on the southbound ramp of the Southfield Freeway at I-96. One car's windows were shot out. We have not been told if anyone was injured, but this scene is about 1.5 miles from where last night's freeway shooting on I-96 took place, which left 3 people dead. We'll keep you updated with any new information.
Also breaking right now, Detroit police responding to the scene where police arrest a man after firing shots at him on the city's east side.
Jason Colthorpe is live in the area of East 7 Mile and Shaner. Jason, what more can you tell us?
Kim, this was a very close call, and I'll explain in a moment. But first, take a look at how active the scene still is. You can see a lot of police activity, investigators going over a lot of ground, and that's because 1 block over on Waltham is where this happened. Officers, part of the ceasefire unit, were, and now we hear an announcement, but they were going down the street. They witnessed a man walking down the middle of the street, and why that stuck out to them was because the sidewalks were cleared, so he had no reason to be walking in the street. When they stopped him to ask him about it, they noticed a bulge. They asked police. 1 officer fired shots. The man was not hit. He started running, and he ends up over here on this block, here on Barlow, behind one of these homes in a garage, and that's when a canine unit was able to apprehend him. Again, not hurt, but here's what police had to say about that very close call.
Yeah, wow, fear, right? I mean, just like a gun being pointed at anybody, just because we're police doesn't make us invincible from being afraid of the gun. If he points it at police, he's going to point it at your mom, he's going to point it at your sister. It's, you know, he's pointing it at anybody.
Yeah, they still don't have a motive, but we're talking about, this is one of those close contact situations where suddenly you're face to face with someone and the gun comes out. So it's amazing no one was hurt in all of this, but as police put it tonight, there's a dangerous guy off the streets, and they're just finishing up a few things here with their investigation. We're live on the east side. Jason Colthorpe, Local 4.
All right, Jason. Also topping our news here at 6, 2 men facing charges after allegedly making threats against 2 prominent Democratic lawmakers, as well as a state judge, both allegedly angry over the outcome of the November election.
Dana Nessel's office says the men made violent threats against Senator Debbie Stabenow, Congresswoman Elissa Slotkin, and Michigan Court of Claims Judge Cynthia Stevens. Our Mara McDonald is live downtown tonight. Only one of these men is from Michigan, right, Mara?
Kimberly, that's right. The other man is from Georgia, and now both of them are facing multiple misdemeanors and fines. Let me show you. According to the complaint from Nessel's office, 62-year-old Daniel Thompson, who is from Harrison, Michigan, made calls to both Senator Stabenow's office as well as Congresswoman Slotkin. In a voicemail to Senator Stabenow, Thompson is alleged to have said he was a Republican, angry with the outcome of the November election, that he had joined a militia, and there would be violence if the November election results weren't overturned.
It's very concerning that we are seeing this happening more and more. That's for sure. I hope you understand I don't want to get into specifics to inflame the situation any further, but it's really unfortunate.
He spoke to a staffer in Slotkin's office for more than an hour, claiming more violence was coming and people would die tonight. In a statement, Congresswoman Slotkin says in part, "While I can't comment on the specifics of an ongoing case, there are two broad points that are clear. Myself and my colleagues in elected office, particularly women, are unfortunately no strangers to violent, threatening calls and comments, and it has got to stop." The second man charged isn't even from Michigan. He's from Georgia. 43-year-old Clinton Stewart, who allegedly left threatening voicemails for Michigan Court of Claims Judge Cynthia Stevens, who he accused of being an activist judge who delivered the election to Joe Biden. Back here live, Thompson is facing multiple charges. Stewart facing one. We're live downtown tonight. I'm Mara McDonald, Local 4.
Yeah. Okay, Mara, thank you.
Let's get to the latest now on the coronavirus here in Michigan. State reporting more than 1,300 new cases over the past 24 hours and 34 more deaths.
On the vaccine front, 100,000 new doses have been distributed in Michigan, bringing the total to 2.4 million doses. So far, 1.8 million doses have been administered. And the Washtenaw County Health Department has created a vaccine data page for its residents. The page will document vaccination progress throughout the county and share vaccine distribution locations. Meanwhile, vaccine efforts for seniors are underway in Highland Park tonight.
But a recent closure of the city's lone CVS pharmacy has drawn criticism for the mayor. Defender Sean Lay joining us live outside that former CVS on Woodward and how it affects so many in the area. Sean?
Devin, let's also be clear, CVS has not yet in Michigan CVS locations, not yet been tapped by the feds to become vaccination sites. But the mayor here in Highland Park says they will be, and this location on Woodward Avenue was going to play a huge role in helping people here in Highland Park, because as you can see, it's shut down.
CVS, who was designated as a place to get the shot, they moved out.
That is Highland Park Mayor Hubert Yopp, and listen again to what he just told us.
They were designated by the federal government to give shots, and they moved out. We were all depending on that, and they moved out on us.
COVID vaccinations were supposed to get a shot in the arm when the feds brought CVS on to get those doses to people. Eventually, the feds would include CVS locations here in Michigan. But January 2nd, the city's only CVS closed.
And that really broke our heart. That broke our heart.
The mayor says once Michigan CVS stores eventually get vaccine, this location would help so many because people could walk here.
I called corporate headquarters and my city attorney. We were really saddened by that.
Strong reactions about this from people like Martha G. Scott.
I'm a long time, a number of things.
Right now, she's a Wayne County commissioner.
I couldn't believe it. I was in there one day and the next day they were gone.
Why would CVS bail on an area hit so hard by COVID?
They told me they weren't making enough money.
Could they not hold on to help Highland Park?
That's my very thoughts. Could you not stay? The city is in dire need of shots.
We had a number of questions for CVS corporate. They got back to me calling this a difficult business decision. In a long statement, they added this, quote, "Last week we announced a community-based strategy to address potential inequities related to COVID-19 vaccine access in underserved communities with a particular focus on Black and Hispanic populations." I went back to CVS and asked if any corporate executives, they're based in Rhode Island, if they came here to look at this site to get a feel for Highland Park being underserved. No response there yet. Across the street, guys, Oak Park Health, they have transferred prescriptions here to delivery for their clients here in Highland Park, and then vaccines there at Oak Health, I should say, they start tomorrow. Back to you.
Okay, Sean.
A very well-known Metro Detroit trucking company is officially gone tonight. Rush Trucking, owned by well-known businesswoman Andra Rush, has been sold. Local 4 business editor Rod Maloney is live tonight with what's gone wrong here.
Well, you know, Kimberly, it's one of those things having to do with COVID, and you might expect that. But, you know, Andra Rush is one of those great Metro Detroit business stories. 35 years ago, she started a small trucking company and grew it into a group of companies that turned into about $500 million a year in revenue. But she had to make changes, and this is what happened.
Best thing I've learned is to never stop learning, to be enthusiastic and passionate about what you do.
Andra Rush owns Dakota Integrated Systems, a highly successful auto supplier, and also owns Rush Supply Management. She proudly proclaims her holdings as one of the largest Native American-owned and woman-owned enterprises in the entire country. President Obama himself gave her accolades for her decision to build facilities and hire in Detroit. Yet for all of the success today, she had to put out this statement, quote, "With COVID-19's impact and the continual driver shortage, it became even clearer that the automotive-focused segment of the trucking industry required consolidation. I collaborated with RTC's major customers to ensure a smooth transition of the RTC business to new providers occurred while maintaining the quality of service and ensuring continued employment opportunities existed for our employees," end quote.
Well, I was really surprised to hear the news.
Detroit Regional Chamber of Commerce head Sandy Barua believes
she has been a tremendous supplier to Ford Motor Company for several years, working on, not just the trucking piece, but also assembling of instrument panels and other major components. But also, she has really been a trailblazer.
She employs roughly 3,000 people, mostly in Metro Detroit.
And she has taken it upon herself to really invest in Detroiters. She has found a way to get Detroiters trained up to take those trucking jobs, to get those CDLs, and she has become a major employer in the city of Detroit.
And it turns out that most of those jobs are going to stay here. The company La Valley Transportation of upstate New York, up in Potsdam on the Canadian border, essentially bought out the assets. They bought the trucks from Rush Trucking, and also, they tell me, employ somewhere between 200 and 250 of her drivers. And so those jobs appear to will be staying with the company and in the business, and those jobs don't disappear. Back to you.
So what now, Rod? Do we know what's next for Rush's remaining holdings?
Well, she has plants in Detroit and in Hazel Park, and she says that she's going to continue growing that section of her business, which has been going spectacularly well for her. And you have to imagine that as the industry grows, she has the opportunity to grow with it.
Yeah. Okay. Rod, thanks. Still to come, a disturbing discovery on the campus of the University of Michigan.
That's coming up in a moment. Let's check in with Ben.
And for the first time in a while, guys, there are 2 4s in the bottom right corner of your screen. Obviously, our channel, and the temperature starts with a 4. We'll see how much longer that continues coming up.
Is it okay to take an antibiotic before or after you get the vaccine? Why are some women being told to delay their mammograms? And why aren't some workers wearing gloves to give the shots? I'm Dr. Frank McGeorge answering your questions about the vaccine coming up.
All right, Frank, and we continue to follow breaking news from Southern California. Tiger Woods currently undergoing surgery after a rollover crash. It's a view of the scene where they continue to investigate what happened. His SUV has been towed away from the crash site near L.A. At a news conference, officials say no evidence of impairment or anything like that at this time, but Woods last listed in serious condition. His longtime agent says he suffered multiple leg injuries. We'll continue to keep you advised.